How is it going, everyone? We have got yet another and the final Crimson Desert Features overview video to go over, and this was, I feel, the perfect cherry on top, and I'll explain why in a little bit. Also, outside of the feature video, we do have a bit of an update that's a little bit of a bummer for me. As somebody has pointed out, the PlayStation Store has been updated with listings for Crimson Desert, and one of the aspects of this game has been removed as far as gameplay specifications, and that is difficulty options. There has been no insight on whether or not there will be difficulty options, but based on this being altered, there is some speculation there will be no difficulty options in the game, so we'll talk about that. Before we get into the core of the video, I do want to note, if you're excited for this game, if you're looking to pick it up on PC and Steam, our friends over at Green Man Gaming, a great spot to buy your PC games, do have the game 15% off. You can use the code FEB15. It'll knock the game's price down to $59.49. You won't pay tax either. You'll get a Steam key, link in the description box below. If you buy it, we do get an affiliate kickback, and that's much appreciated. So, moving on from that, while this is the final features overview video, this is not the final update you'll be getting out of the game. Bear in mind that the game's out March 19th. We're still about 5 weeks away from the release. There are still a couple of key information tidbits we need to know, and particularly PlayStation 5 Pro upgrades, optimization, full PC system requirements, because right now on Steam, you only have the minimum and recommended requirements, but this is the kind of game you really want 4 to 6 tiers of system requirements. But why I am very happy with the final features overview video is I really do feel like this was the cherry on top that makes an open world game and takes an open world game to the next level, and that is the content you necessarily don't think that much about. Yes, a lot of people are going to highlight, oh, this side mission or this side quest arc or the overall narrative arc or how many regions are in the game. However, the actual activities you can do and a lot of the minor nuances of open world game design is what creates an immersive open world, and I thought that's what Red Dead Redemption 2 did so strongly in creating one of the best open worlds of all time, and us getting that level of insight for Crimson Desert in the final features video, I think is perfect. So they highlighted a lot of elements of that. Particularly, they start off by highlighting the Greymane camp as your evolving base. Now, you are kind of starting from scratch after you lost the battle, but that base camp is going to be evolving, and that is going to be a big element of the game. You customizing your base camp, and I would imagine that based on looking at how they highlighted it, this is going to be an aspect of the game that some people are going to want to spend a significant amount of time on, expanding their base camp, doing all of the activities, and some people might just look at it as an accessory element to the game and they might not spend a lot of time into it. The thing about a game like Crimson Desert, where there is so much variety in content, you don't have to do everything. You can be a main story guy, but if you want to get everything out of the game, there's going to be a lot of nuance and depth to the content, and that's what I want more than anything. Offering that level of depth where you can make it through the entire game doing the content you want to do, but if you do want to do everything, you need that variety, because you can already tell that this is a game that's going to have a significant amount of content and it's going to be a lot of hours of gameplay. However, if it's copy-paste content over and over again, clear this base camp, get this item for this fetch quest, it is going to get redundant. So I think the idea of having the base camp and then a lot of depth into the activities you can do in the towns, that's going to offer a lot. You'll be expanding the Greymane camp by using resources gathered throughout exploration, and there will be a lot of things you could do: cooking, provisioning, farming, ranching options as well. That is going to be the hub for you rebuilding the Greymane faction. They also went over the comrades and dispatch, so you do know that there are 3 playable main characters. 2 other playable characters are going to join you in the journey. However, you are going to have a bunch of comrades that you can send on dispatch missions. You'll recruit Greymanes, or they'll hear word about it and they will be just reunited throughout the game and they'll gather at camp. They are going to be allowed to be sent on missions across Pyworld, and those missions are going to let you get currency, wood, or alchemy, cooking material, so on and so forth. Things that will reinforce things you could do at the base camp and also upgrades, things of that nature. And on top of that, if you have your reinforcements alongside you, they can weaken enemy aspects, blockades, things of that nature. Then, outside of the base camp, there are going to be towns, cities, and local life with a lot of depth to it as well. You'll be able to check out the vendors with a lot of different items. There are going to be side stories that'll have various jobs, deliveries, and different quests that you'll be able to tackle. When you talk to the various NPCs, that's gonna reveal information about the game world, and I think aspects like that, again, add that level of immersion, which a lot of open world games do get lost in, but that level of attention to detail is also hard to get right because, let's be honest, that level of attention to detail, it's really difficult to get that in the entirety of the open world. So hopefully Crimson Desert does have a significant amount of that. You can isolate a section of an open world and be like, oh, we have a lot of depth here, but hopefully that is extended to the entirety of the game. On top of that, there will be rumors, mini games, we see just fights going on, and it looks like, again, those minor interactions and minor activities that you can do, are they going to entirely be heavily consequential that are going to totally change what happens in the game? No, but these in unison, these in conjunction with one another, I think adds another layer to an open world game that might be one of the most important layers to an open world in the sense of creating something that you can get lost in and totally immersed in. Because again, when it comes to clearing base camps on loop, at that point, that's where you get pivoted into an open world game becoming a podcast game, and that's what happens, I feel, with some of the Assassin's Creed titles, and I think ideally you want to stay away from that. It's difficult to be entirely immersed into a lengthy 150, 200 hour game, however long it is. 150, 200 hours might be a stretch, but there's a lot to do in this game by the looks of it. Let's say even 50 hours long to do everything, 50 to 100 hours, that's difficult to keep you immersed that whole time, but doing the best you can to not break that immersion, and optional activities and things that have variants and locales, all of this comes together to create an immersive world, and the fact they've been so transparent about it and highlighting that as a core element of the game makes me a little bit more confident in totality. They also did highlight that there's going to be a law, crime, and consequences. You can do a variety of nefarious actions, but guess what? That is going to have direct consequences, and that's going to turn residents and guards against you. You can fight against them, you can pay fines, or you can even end up in jail, so keep that in mind. The idea is to have this open world that is reacting to what you do in the world, and that's the goal for any open world, and again, that adds a layer to the immersion and that idea of it. There's gonna be hidden elements of the game. We already know about things like hidden walls, very reminiscent of something like Elden Ring, and Will Powers did highlight that even at the end of the game, him being somebody that knew the content of the game, getting to the end of it, still realized, oh, I missed this piece of content, I missed that piece of content, because there is so much that's hidden kind of in plain sight, and you're gonna be able to find a lot of things, whether it be caves that lead to items, whether it be hidden walls, so on and so forth. That's a little bit reminiscent of Elden Ring. I've said it before that my issue with Elden Ring is that Elden Ring really left you to your own devices, and I felt like it got to the territory that if you didn't have a guide, you could miss content here, and that was my issue personally with Elden Ring, just all the missable content, but hey, that did reinforce replayability, so there is that going for it as well, but there's gonna be a lot of optional content for you to do, whether it be something like regular fights going on out town, NPC interactions, or something that is going to be a significant quest line. They went over cooking, hunting, and alchemy as well, eating meals to give you boosts in health, spirit, and stamina. You'll be able to find recipes, and then there's activities that are typical: hunting, fishing, gathering, things of that nature. Alchemy on top of that will be there. You can brew combat-enhancing medicines as well. They also highlighted character customization, so for each of the three main characters, you will be able to change things like hairstyles, tattoos, outfit colors. You can use various dyes to make them look a certain way. Dyes can be found and crafted through alchemy, and they want you to experiment with how you make the character look. But that's where the video wrapped up, and I thought they did a great job, man. This is, for a lot of open world games, that missing piece of the puzzle that, for me, I feel like this is an aspect of the open world, adding the layers into what's going on in the world. You could have a lot of towns, you could have a lot of settlements, but if it feels like it's just copy-paste settlements that don't have a lot of depth to it, and I feel like that was one of the issues with Starfield. Yeah, Starfield had all these planets you could explore, but were there layers? Was there depth to these planets you could explore? No, and that's sometimes my worry when we get too crazy with the open worlds, when they become too expansive, that you dilute it more and more as you get bigger and bigger, and sometimes I feel like these games go for sheer size and scope, but you're diluting the content. If you can find a healthy balance, or hell, if you want to go for size and scope and you're like Rockstar where you can have that level of attention to detail, but that's going to be incredibly expensive from a development cost, then by all means do it, but I think there is a balancing act and a managing act, and based on what we've seen out of Crimson Desert thus far, it makes me fairly optimistic about it. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, difficulty settings have been removed from the accessibility section on the PlayStation Store. Now, all that is listed is game speed, control reminders, tutorial reminders, game pausing, and manual saving. That is all listed. However, now it is being led to be believed that there will be a set difficulty and leveled zones and bosses, which I'm not crazy about depending on how they structure it. So there will be no difficulty options by the look of it, and depending on how it's structured, this could be a good thing or a bad thing. You could say, hey, get good, hey, do the side content and get leveled highly enough, and you could just get through the game regardless. But, you know, playing my fair share of Assassin's Creed games and it just forcing you at times, some of those games, to do side content to be leveled enough to get through the content even on easier difficulties. That does worry me a little bit for the people that really do just want to focus on the main story, but if the side content is compelling and worthwhile to do, and it's gonna level you, it's gonna make you more powerful, and it's all cohesive in creating a more compelling game experience, then it could end up being a good thing. But we'll see how it's executed. That is still something that is to be determined, and they could go, if there's not difficulty options at launch, they could add difficulty options in the future after the release of the game. Chronos the New Dawn is literally doing that. Lies of P has done that. If there's enough pushback, they'll do that. But yeah, we'll see. We haven't gotten official confirmation as far as difficulty options in Crimson Desert, but we're waiting on an update on that, and I'm led to believe that there won't be difficulty options, so that might be a bit of a bummer for you guys as far as that's concerned. I do want to get optimization notes about the game and things of that nature. That is going to be the next big thing I think people are going to be wanting to hear about. Ideally, there would be a demo, but not the end of the world if there isn't a demo. I think this game is going to do exceedingly well, so be unlocked to that, be unlocked to all of our updates. Green Man Gaming, if you're looking to buy it on PC and getting it a little bit cheaper, link in the description box below. Use the code FEB15. That'll do it for me. Your thoughts down below. Sound off with your excitement level for Crimson Desert. Interested to hear what you guys think. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.